Hello everyone and welcome back. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how we can think in English. So it's one thing to learn the vocabulary words, to learn the grammar when you're learning the English language, but it's another thing to actually take that knowledge and use it to think in the language. A lot of students and a lot of clients of mine, they're in the beginner or the intermediate stages of their English language development, and they're able to say and pronounce the words, they're able to make sentences, they're able to put together speeches, but a lot of it involves a translation from their native language into English inside of their heads, inside of their brains. And that can cause a little bit of confusion. It can also cause a mistranslation of some of the vocabulary words. So today we're going to be taking a look at some strategies to kind of get over that and to help us start to think in the target language. So one strategy that I'm going to recommend for you is to use an English to English dictionary. So a lot of people, they use a dictionary that contains words in their native language. So they'll use a Spanish to English dictionary or a Japanese to English dictionary. But what I'd really like you to do is start using an English to English dictionary. And you can use this whenever you have to look up a new word or phrase. And we do this because it will eventually, it may be a really tough step to take at first. It may be very challenging for you. But as you move along, you're going to feel more and more comfortable thinking in English because it's going to force you to not only look at the definition in English, but it's also going to force your brain to associate that word with the definition. And the more you do this, the more you do this exercise with the English to English dictionary, the easier it's going to become for you to remember and retain those words. Now, one objection that some people will give is, okay, so you want me to look at the word in English, but how can I remember the word in English when, in order to define that word, they're using words that I don't know? And that's a very good question. So the solution to that is to use a dictionary app, particularly a dictionary app that will be using simpler words that's meant for either children or for very beginner level ESL, English as a Second Language learners. And this helps tremendously because the dictionaries use simpler phraseology and terminology, and it's much easier for the learner to make those connections and make those associations with the various words when they're using those online dictionary apps. And actually, I'm going to provide a list of online dictionary apps for you at the bottom of this video in the description section. So make sure that you check that out before you navigate away from this video to help you with a selection of possible dictionary apps that you can use. So another strategy that I recommend for everybody in order to build up their vocabulary is to write down the definitions of the words that you're learning in English. And you can do this by using note cards or flashcards, the little 3x5 note cards. You can write the definition on one side and then write the word in English on the other side. Again, this is a great way to help build an association in your brain between the word and the definition. So write down definitions in English. This is very, very useful. Another thing that you can do if you don't have the 3x5 note cards is to carry around a little book or a journal. You can use a handwritten journal, or you can also take notes on your phone or use another app. So every time you can't think of a word, write it down or record it in your phone. And then at the end of the day, go to your dictionary app and look up the word in English. And be sure to write down or note down the proper definition. This will help you to fill in the gaps with your vocabulary. So the next thing that you'll do after you do that is to actually go and use those words in conversations with native English speakers. And how can you remember to use all those words in conversation? Well, a good strategy for that is to use what I call chunking, where you can choose a group of around 5 words each day, and then be sure to use those words that you've chosen in the conversation and focus only on those 4 or 5 words per day. And I think you'll find that it gets a lot easier for you to remember and recall the information. So don't overwhelm yourself with trying to learn too many words at once. So again, 4 to 5 words per day is very ideal for this. Another thing that I'm going to recommend that you do, and I believe I've made mention of this in past videos, is to consume more English language media. That includes American movies, English language television, English language music. So start exposing yourself to more and more of that. And that's going to help you to remember and recall the language. And another thing that's related to this, when you're watching English language movies or you're watching English language television, remember to try and do it without the subtitles. Now, I know that if you're a beginner or if you're a lower intermediate level learner, the subtitles do definitely help. And I would definitely encourage you to use subtitles for the first few viewing experiences. But as you start learning new vocabulary, as you start getting better, as you start feeling more comfortable, I want you to slowly start taking away the subtitles from the viewing experience, because this will help you to really get to that next step, to push yourself outside your comfort zone and to do things that you wouldn't normally do, because that's how we grow. That's how we get better. We do that by challenging ourselves and doing things that may make us a little bit uncomfortable. So next time you're watching an American movie or an American television show, try doing so without the subtitles if you normally do it. And I think you'll find after a few times of doing it, it's going to force you to try and think and remember things in the language rather than by directly translating things from your language to the English language. And so the last strategy that I'm going to have for you today is, again, it's something that I have already made mention of in past videos, and that is to record yourself. And the reason I'm going to ask you to do this, again, not only does it help with pronunciation, but it also it provides you a window onto your own speaking as it relates to the words that you use and the vocabulary that you use. Oftentimes, we won't be able to really catch ourselves making a mistake with a word or with a sentence unless we actually go back and we listen to ourselves speak. And by listening to yourself speak in English and by digesting what it is that you're saying in English, it will help you, again, to think of things in English and to think in the target language as well. So the more you expose yourself to you speaking the English language, and by you're reflecting on what it is that you do and what you say, that will also provide an important step towards you thinking in the English language. So these are my strategies for helping you to think in English, and I hope that you found these to be useful, and we will see you next time for a new video. Take care and have a great day.